which steel producers are going to benefit the most from this? Help us break it down. Who's best positioned?
Well, U.S. Steel would probably be the top one. They have the highest degree of leverage to pricing, steel prices in the U.S. market, and second biggest steel producer behind Nucor, so it would be U.S. Steel, I would think. Do
they have the capacity to ramp up capacity to 80% here in the U.S. to make up for the lack of steel and aluminum that we're going to not import?
Yes, in their products, they certainly have enough capacity to ramp up, and others do. There may be some products that there'll be gaps for sure.
Michael, I want to come back to the 232 part of this. We have to remember, this is why the president just tweeted, you don't have a country. He's worried about the national security aspect. Is this move enough to actually build up capacity? Forget the 80%, 85% of existing capacity. That's not going to make us independent on steel if there's a war. So is it realistic to expect this to actually lead to a huge investment in new steel plants?
No, that seems very unlikely because it takes years to build steel plants. At a minimum, you're looking at 3 years.
So is the net effect of this, we're going to have steel producers make more money, they may pay some more money to their employees, but it's not actually going to address the underlying national security issue, if there is such an issue?
That's correct. I mean, the security issue, you could say, has been undermined for years in terms of unfair trade in steel. And to be honest with you, the trade in steel has been unfair, and I'm sure in many other products as well. The big problem that the industry has, and you have in trade, is circumvention. So a great example of that last year was when the Chinese were brought to a case of anti-dumping of cold-rolled and coated steel sheet products. They were found guilty through the normal process. They received 300 to 500% tariffs, which would knock them out of the U.S. market. Their share in the U.S. market in these products were anywhere from 6 to 8% of the U.S. market at the time. And once those tariffs went into effect, their share, Chinese share in the U.S. market in those products went down to 0. However, at the same time, Vietnam's share of those products went from near 0 to 4 to 6%. So what typically happens is a country, a foreign producer, gets a high tariff that knocks them out of the U.S. steel market or aluminum market, whatever, and they just move that production through another country like Vietnam that doesn't have or has low tariffs in the U.S., and that's a form of circumvention or a way to avoid our trade laws. And I think what Trump is doing, besides trying to meet some political promises he made, is to address the circumvention issue. Whenever Secretary of Commerce Ross talks about NAFTA, he's usually referring to country of origin issues as a main problem, people circumventing NAFTA laws, moving product from outside NAFTA through Mexico or Canada into the U.S. And it's tough to stop that. You really have to address it on an individual basis. This is more of a shotgun approach, which also hurts trading partners who are trading fair with us. But it's a way to address the circumvention issue.